Right, sitting outside at the great venue, Graceland Casino, which is obviously in Secunda in Mpumalanga. I'm sitting here with Sipho Mashego, well-known ring announcer, and he's starting to do his own show now. But let's start at the beginning, Sipho. Where did boxing begin for you?
Well, I guess it's the passion when you grow up as a kid. You know, you grow up at that time. I remember we didn't even have television sets, and we used to wake up with my dad and we listened to Muhammad Ali fighting, and you couldn't even figure out what was going on, but you know, the commentary was so good, especially in the African languages, you know, the vernacular.
That made you excited.
Yes, yes, and it got me excited. I grew up, actually I'm a tennis player.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
I played tennis and grew up playing tennis and went overseas. Did my degree there overseas in Houston, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was playing on the tennis team. You know, I represented the tennis team in the United States. You know, so a lot of people don't know I was actually a tennis player. And I met with Evander Holyfield there in the States. I met with George Foreman. He came to our campus.
Yeah.
And Muhammad Ali was there promoting his perfume. He had launched a perfume range. You know, I met them.
Wow, yeah.
And obviously then I had this passion for boxing. You know, I said, I'm going to get involved in the sport. It didn't happen until I got back to the country. You know, when I got back to the country from the United States, then I started getting involved in amateur boxing a little bit, you know, going to the gym, and I got beaten so many times, and I said, yeah, this is not for me. But the bug was there, you know.
Yeah.
I was basically a person that was involved in youth activities, you know, in my community, you know, building of the youth and doing so much social programs with the youth. And it got to a point where I was getting involved in too much speaking, you know, public speaking.
Okay.
And I was actually speaking. Also got involved in politics as well, you know.
You've dabbled in a lot of things.
Being a candidate for some political party, I'm not going to mention. But, you know, talking to people, that became like a passion to me. And until I did a Kaiser Chiefs, Miss Kaiser Chiefs show that was at Carlton Center. You know, I think it was 1996. And I started talking there, you know, I was the MC, I was emceeing the show, comparing the show. And from then on, you know, I got somebody approached me, I think it was a promoter or a trainer in Witbank. No, not Witbank, in Mpumalanga, in Middleburg. And he said to me, come to boxing, you know. And I said, yeah, I had a love before for the sport, you know, and I grew up watching the sport.
Yeah.
So I then started, I think 1996 was when I started my first show as a ring announcer.
Wow. Let's go back to the beginning, because that's a fascinating story. Tennis.
Yeah.
Why didn't tennis work out? Like at the end of the day.
Look, Hayden, there were problems in the country. You know, we all know of the problems the country and as sports people, you know, we used to have our own tennis bodies, you know, as I'm not going to say black, but African. And then you had this division. That's the time when there was apartheid. But I used to play competitively, you know, go around throughout the country competing, you know, playing in finals, you know, as a tennis player. Now, there was no room for us to grow. You know, you couldn't get anywhere except being here in the country. And there were sanctions at that time as well, you know, because of the apartheid regime, and there was pressure from the international community that, you know, all sporting codes will not compete internationally. So it was a bit tough. It was a tough sport to be in, you know, but it was a sport that I loved. You know, I actually gained a lot of fame from that sport, you know, in the black community, that, you know, this is a black tennis player. You know, I competed at that level, and it was even easy when I went overseas and went to university to be on the tennis team. You know, ultimately I was on the tennis team with a full scholarship and playing on the South, it's called Southwestern Athletic Conference region, it's SWAT. You know, so we were moving, you know, going to like Alabama, Atlanta, you know, throughout.
Touring around the whole America,
Yeah, the southern part of the United States. We were actually from Houston, Texas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a part of you wanted maybe to come home as well, I guess, like to come back home to South Africa. But was there ever the other part of you which is like, well, America, this is the dreamland? Because everyone sort of dreams of America, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever think about staying? Was that a consideration?
No, not really. I think, Hayden, at that time, when I was in the States, and obviously consideration of what's happening in the country at that moment, the country was volatile. There was a lot of fighting amongst the political parties, especially the IFP and the ANC. And I was in the United States at that time. Now, in my own view, I felt that anybody, wherever they are, you always have this loyalty to your country, and you're saying, I want to go back, and that was what actually pushed me, to say I have to come back. Even though I'm there, it's a better country, there's opportunities over there. But I gave it all that up. I gave all that up to say, let me come back to the country, because I believe that it's also a responsibility for everybody, whether they overseas, whether they gain skills or they gain expertise, to come back and invest in the country so that we can grow the country together. So there was that in me to say, I miss my home, I miss my people, I got to come back. And I gave everything away, came back and started from scratch in this country.
Well, that's exactly what you did in boxing as well. You started from the bottom in the ring announcing, and you've worked your way up to a really powerful position where you are literally, as I said to you, I was saying to you earlier yesterday, you're almost on every single show I watch now. Like, your face is plastered all over boxing, and so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
But let's talk about some of the stories along the way. Like, what are some of the stories that stick out to you in your ring announcing journey?
Well, I think that the ring announcing to me has been very gracious. Boxing has been gracious to me, but the community as well, the boxing community as well. You have your family, you have your biological family, where you have your brothers, sisters, and everybody. But then you have a boxing family, where I see Hayden,
the crazy family,
all the time. I see so many people, and it's all good people, with good intentions, and we like a family. I think we dissipate a lot of time with the boxing family, and that's the people that really drive me. They drove me to be at a level where I needed to understand the sport. I needed to understand each and every one of them. The emotions, the social space, their families. If I can go visit Hayden, I will go visit Hayden and the family and get to understand the family. Yeah. Because behind Hayden, there's a family. There's these emotions, there's his psychology, there's people behind it, So as long as we understand that is where we got to look at, this is a sport and there are people, and it's all good people. Yeah. How do we all hold hands and get on top and get the sport on top, where it belongs. So I've had a lot of experiences in my journey as a ring announcer. I've started off, I didn't know what to do in the ring, getting in the ring, and people like Achinyingwa, they supported me. People like Peter Ngatani, I can remember Stan Christodolo. Those were the people I met, and I was like, it was a different world. It was a different world, different people, But you get people who always support you. They will always support you. They will always be genuine in your journey, and you will always have these mistakes. You go on and you make mistakes, and you have to make mistakes. There is nowhere where anybody is 100% perfect. Yeah. You're gonna make mistakes, and when you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes. So I've made a lot of mistakes, to a point now, I know when I'm making a mistake, and sometimes even the people watching do not know I'm making a mistake, but I know, and I know how to cover it.
Yeah, well, you learn that with experience.
But it's all part of the journey, it's all part of the journey. But thanks to a lot of people like you, you came into the sport, gave it a breath of fresh air, SA Boxing Talk. I remember you coming in, and I thought, who is this person? Because we get very protective of our sport, and somebody walks in and you sort of want to say, ask who's this person? What's he doing? You know, and I saw you coming in, and you build a brand, you know, a very reputable brand. In that, you know, you've been able to showcase the talent we have. You've been able to add value to the sport. That's what we need. You know, these are the people that we say they are making a change in our sport, because we're not going to be in the sport forever.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, we have to leave a legacy for the people coming after us.
I want to speak about family, because you mentioned the boxing family, but there is a particular boxing family that always puts you on the shows every single time, referring to the Tawil family. They really supported your career. I know that you're very close to the family as well.
Yes.
Speak about them a little bit, because I know that you are close to them.
Tawils, it's, you know, there's a legacy with the Tawils. You know, they had Vic Tawil, Ellen Tawil. You know, it's a family that has got a rich history of boxing.
Yeah.
You know, look, sometimes you get this fascination about races. You know, people think white and black, and people think, you know, they have to distance themselves from races. But, you know, we've got a new country. We've got to build this country. And it's also in the sporting community that we have to do that. Now, the Tawil family, they embraced me. You know, they didn't say, but this is a different person. I got them calling me and saying, listen, you're on our shows. And beautiful shows as well. You know, wonderful people.
Yeah. And
they've got a passion for the sport. And I've always been with them through their development. I've seen their champions. I've seen them build champions. And that's the one thing that we need in boxing, that we look at development. Development is key to the success of the sport. Without development, you will not have champions that you want to build. They don't fall from anywhere. Yeah. They start with development. And I'm very appreciative and thankful to people like Alan Tawil and his family, that they started the boxers at development. I've seen each and every show that those boxers performed on, and I know them as champions now.
They improve all the time. Yeah.
When I call him in the ring now, I call them as champions.
Yeah.
So that gives me a gratitude. You know, that makes me happy to be in that kind of a space, to have worked with such a wonderful family.
And the next step as well is, like, you have your family, you have, as you mentioned, the boxing family, as we all discussed, but you have a boxing group as well on social media, which you started, which is an even bigger community. So it reaches out to fans, not only the boxers or the boxing trainers. Tell us about starting a group like that, and obviously spreading your word and helping boxing as well.
I can remember we had a tournament in Boksbeek. I can't remember the name of the place, but it was Boxing is Back. That's when boxing was coming back on the screen, you know. And I think Manny Fernandez was the promoter, Manny and his wife. And, you know, from that tournament, I sort of thought about a boxing community group. There are other boxing community groups, yes. And I thought, no, let me put something where everyone can access the group. You know, everyone is from a fan, from a boxing licensee, that we share boxing experiences. We talk about boxing, you know. That's when it started. You know, I just opened the page, and I can tell you now, we have over, when I last looked, because sometimes I stop looking, 15.7.
That's
Is
a lot
it
of people.
1,000? I don't know, I sound like Zuma. But 15.7.
Yeah, 15.7 thousand.
Yes.
Or 15,700.
15,700. Let's put it that way. Otherwise I get zoomed now. But yes, it's constantly growing. You know, but what's phenomenal about it, we're having also international people on the group. You know, so we can get information out. They can get to learn about us as well. You know, because each time we put up a tournament there, they're able to see what's happening. They're able to get the results. They're able to get, you know, like projects like yours, SA Boxing Talk. I see you on there. I'm happy about it. That
I'm sharing all the time.
We're there all the time. So we're sharing it with the world. You know, that's what it's about. That's about people knowing about the sport of boxing. So it's a group. I'm not boasting about anything. I'm just happy. I'm just content that people have embraced it. They become part of the boxing community. You know, sometimes we can talk over there, fight over there. We like any other family, like any other family, and you laugh, and I meet you again. Hey, Hayden, how are you? You know, so that's the way life goes.
Yeah. Okay, and then obviously, as the way life goes, I love how you just flowed into that next one, because as the way life goes, you and I was teasing you yesterday because I said I would be asking the questions today, but you started asking questions recently on a show. You got your own show. Congratulations on that again.
Thank you.
Let us actually know a bit more about that. I'm sure a lot of people want to know when it launches, how it's going to work.
Okay, keep punching. Now, SCI TV, you know, SCI TV is one of the biggest online, you know, sports broadcaster. And they've come into the space of boxing as well. And the director there is Emil van Zyl. You know, he spoke to me. I didn't even think I didn't fathom what he was talking about. But in one of the tournaments, said, "Listen, Sipho, I want us to do a show, you know, on boxing." And I thought, am I be able to? I'm not going to be able to talk because I can just talk in the ring. You know, if I call the boxers, that's my forte. That's my space. However, he says to me, "Look, you're gonna be anchoring the show. You're gonna be talking to people." So I said, let me see what it's about. So we've done a recording. We've started recording, and I'm very happy to say that it's the first edition will come out very shortly. You know, watch the space. It's an exciting show. It's about boxing. You know, we talk all things boxing.
Yeah.
But making it a fun show as well. You know, where I get to know about you, you know, where do you come from? What is, I mean, probably the same questions you're asking me right now. I'm on the other side.
Yeah.
But getting people to know the people, getting people to know who's who, getting people to know what you think, getting people to know what is your vision of boxing. You know, what is it that you think we can change? You know, instead of just talking behind the scenes, behind each other's back and thinking this we can change that, but it gives you a platform to do that. So we have started the show. It will start rolling, I think, by next week. We will have the show on, and we've had some very good people on the show, some very exciting people, boxing people.
We'll wait and see who those are.
Yes, and I'm expecting to still call more people like you, you know, to share experiences with the people, because I'm saying with SA Boxing Talk, you've actually set the lead. You know, you've actually went in on your own, worked hard. I know, without even money, you know, no financial support, but the passion that you had, you know, it's all about boxing. You gave everything. That's how we need to teach each other to say, let's give for a sport. You know, it's all about the sport. It's not about us. It's about the boxers. You know, and this is the opportunity you're giving them to say, talk about your career, talk about what you want to achieve. Now we are saying there are also personalities here, you know, and I'm bringing them in, and I'm saying, let's talk. You know, talk to the fans, talk to the licensees, give them messages. You know, the sport is bigger than us. The sport is bigger than us. Like I said earlier, we're gonna move on and leave the sport, but we must leave it in good hands, with a legacy, and say, this is what we've attempted, this is what we've done, you know, treading new ground like you did, you know, boldly. You came with something, everybody was saying, what's going on? And I think that's the mentality we need to inculcate in our licensees, to say, we can do more for the sport. You know, if we look at people like Floyd Mayweather out there, they boldly go where no man, you know, I mean, like Star Wars would say, like where no man has gone before. You know, you try new things. You think, they actually say, I think the phrase is, think out of the box.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing.
That's what you have to do,
And that's what we're doing. And in all, it's not about competition. I don't see competition. It's about...
No, it's actually good if everyone
complementing
comes on board,
each other. Complementing each other. What is Hayden doing? Oh, he's doing this. What is that one doing? Because we must put the sport of boxing first, you know, up there. And it's a big sport for anyone, man.
Well, I want to leave you with one last question, right? Because you mentioned legacy.
Yeah.
And what do you want your legacy to be in the sports? I know it's like you still got you probably in your own mindset you got a lot more that you want to accomplish, right? So you got a couple of goals. But how do you want to leave the sport as a legacy?
Look, I'm thinking that we need to create more champions. in the country. You know, it's very, very important. We need to support each other. You know, if Hayden has got a boxer and I've got a leeway or opportunity to assist that boxer, we should be able to assist it without even thinking Hayden is going to say, no, that's my boss, to be protective and all that.
Yeah.
It's not about us, it's about the boxers. You know, if we've got championship material, let's all rally behind that and back it up and take the boxers to the level where they need to go. And another thing is, we need to stop this thing of working disjointed. You know, like somebody does their own thing on the side, somebody does.
There's like a lot of teams.
Yeah, a lot of teams or a lot of organizations, and you know, I don't get along with that.
This group is this group.
Yes, no. That we should get over that. We should get over that.
And be as a country.
Yes, and look at the whole country and put the product there that this is boxing. I think the legacy is, for me, and I would say maybe challenge everybody out there to say, let's do it for the sport of boxing. Let's do it for the boxers. Put
your egos aside.
Put your egos aside.
Yeah.
Put your egos aside. I think you've summarized that very well. Where I'm saying, if we can get champions, if today you can say, okay, we got Muruti Mtalani as a credible world champion. Yeah. How many more? We got Heki Butlers, you know, out there. We got the Zolani Tete out there. But in the past, you had people like Tera Matebula, you had Tap Tap Makatini, you had all those boxers. But the conditions then were not the same as the conditions now. Okay? The Vuyane Bongos, you know, who've been there. We need to say Dingan Rose of Soweto Tobela. We need to say, what is our trajectory now? Where are we going? You know? What is it that we need to correct in our sport? What is it that we need to make better in order to benefit the boxers? When I leave, I want to say there were 10 champions. You know, there were 10 world champions. And the sport was in a better place than what it used to be in the past. And there was this uniformity, and there was this good relationship with people, respect, you know, respect each other. Treat each other. We already spoken about family as brothers and sisters. You know, look at each other in the face and say, "That's my brother." It doesn't matter how you woke up or you had a problem at home and all that, but you say, "Sipho, how are you?" When I meet you, how are you? You know, we always smile at each other when you look. We see you. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It brings me joy. It makes me so happy when people say, "Sipho, you know, you've done well," and I say, "Hey, you've done well." You know, compliment each other, you know. And that will make us better people in the sport. You know, that is very essential, an integral part of making a sport a better sport. Supporting each other. You know, it's not about me winning anything. I'm not going to win anything. I want the boys to win something. I'm happy that Hayden Bruce Jones, boxer, is a world champion. I must support him. It's not your responsibility only because you're doing it for the country. It is for the country. So the good of the country, we're representing the country. It's a credible sport here that we're competing globally. We're not only competing in a vacuum. It's a global sport. That's where people must start thinking. And before you say something, think it through.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to say something that hurts you, and I can't take it back. You know, so it's better to think, you know, if you feel you basically are in a space where you can't speak, rather walk away. Then come back tomorrow and speak to me or speak to Hayden, and you'll get better results in that way than being emotional. Let's not be emotional in the sport. I don't want people to be emotional.
Too much.
It's a legacy I want to leave where people work together in unity and build a sport and make sure that we build good boxers.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what we're doing right now, even on this platform itself, just by doing the interview. It's uplifting people. Obviously, a lot of people like to hear what you have to say. You know, as you were mentioning earlier, we always, when you look at each other, we smile. Every time I come to away, and it's like you have that family. You know, you've seen, like you haven't seen that person maybe in a few days, a week, month, but you know, you can familiarize yourself. We can walk up to you, you can have a conversation. You're never closed off. The only time that you're on the point is when you got the microphone in the hand and you're like calling out the things, and then like people are coming in your ear, and you're like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing. You know, like, but you have your fun. Like it's not just a job for you. It's a passion for you as well. And I think that's why you excel, and a lot of people want to have you on board because you get invested in the even here by TLB where we are right here. Joyce loves to have you here. You know, like the people love to have you, and I think that's like why you are picked as much as you are, and you're a credit to the sport. And I'd like to thank you as well for being one of the guys that myself and a lot of the boxers look up to, because we want you to call the fights for us.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, man. I appreciate you. We appreciate you out there, and from everyone around the country, to more success in your career. Let's put it that way.
Thank you very much.